did get top 4 at Italy.
Okay.
I want to say. So he's doing all right, but we haven't seen him as much as maybe some of the others.
But here for Cosmo, you see Deathstalker Rexar, and you keep Deathstalker Rexar. It really is such an important card in this matchup, because again, Swids has that Duskbreaker to fight back against the Spellstone, so that on its own will not be doing enough to win this matchup the majority of the time. Whereas Deathstalker Rexar, if you find it, really can pull this one into a pretty good position for Cosmo.
And got the Rexar, not got the damage, not got the curve. Look at Swid's card draw. It should be okay. The Acolyte should develop into a decent card draw card.
Yeah, it's all right for the moment. It's not a great hand, but I mean, when do you do much of anything in the early turns as Priest?
Exactly. There's a card.
That's
Now
what you're
we've got a
looking for.
game.
This is a game. I am so glad that we're not having another game where, for poor old Swidsy up against the Spell Hunter, he has to have the Anduin right at the bottom. Now this is a game. He can go aggressive with Anduin if he can find Alexstrasza as well. He will be trying very much to lock down the board control in the mid game, so that when he does go for Anduin, any amount of damage that he can push forward will be so devastating for Cosmo, because the Mind Blast will close out the game lickety split.
Whew. Okay, and there's the backup that it was needed. It's not great backup, but the chance to draw 2 cards next turn, assuming this isn't a huffer, and even if it was, in fact. And that's nice. Now he can really go ham on getting cards if he wants to this turn.
Yeah, I wonder if he will bother with that, though. Like, actually, I was going to say Twilight Drake on this turn because it's a nice value trade into the Misha, but then you don't have a Dragon Activator for Duskbreaker, which means the Spellstone could be very powerful indeed. You saw your opponent keep a card in Deathstalker Rexar, and even though, like I said, Spellstone can be rather unpowerful in this matchup because they have Duskbreaker, if Swids didn't have it, it could just solo the game for Cosmo.
Now he must be tempted to Twilight Drake. Hunter's Mark, of course, the big deal as to why not.
Mm-hmm. In addition
that's
to
got dice in here, right? So,
yeah. And like you said, Hunter's Mark is bad, but no Dragon for Duskbreaker is even worse, because I think he will be expecting a Spellstone on the next couple of turns. As Indeed. We can obviously see it's not there, but that will be the primary concern in Swids' mind. Did Cosmo just BM him?
He did. But I think it was meant as a sarcastic thing because he just picked up another garbage card. I think he was actually sort of BMing himself, but he's forgetting that Swids can't see
not. No, you don't give away information about what your hand is here by saying thanks when you draw a rubbish card.
I mean, you don't, but I think he may have done.
It's pretty badass, actually. Just saying, you know what, this game's too easy. I'm going to kind of tell you what's in my hand.
Yeah, it's so bad I'm just going to kill you anyway.
Maybe we're just reading way too much into it, who knows?
What, you think that Swids just passed him a bottle of water or something and he's saying thanks for that?
He's obviously lacks the communication because Cosmo doesn't really speak English, so he's just doing it through the client. It makes a lot of sense. And again, for Swids here, that same problem where he's expecting a Spellstone to come down on the following turn, so he really doesn't feel able to play that Drake.
Twitch chat's putting me right. I don't usually refer to Twitch chat during cards, but it was a heel to the face he was thanking him for.
Oh, right, there we go, okay.
But we were too busy concentrating on the gameplay. That's the excuse I'm using, and I'm sticking to it. Well, talking of garbage cards, he's got freezing traps for days.
Yeah,
not too bad, slowing things down a bit, yeah.
Yeah, denies your opponent's trade in here. It means they can't kill this off with Dustbreaker as well. As this is pretty relevant, the 4 damage every turn could be a very nice way of just starting to, get the damage going. So when you do play Deathstalker Rexar, you can close things out nice and quickly. But now, finally, Swid's seeing no Spellstone. Great. All the liberty in the world to just throw down this Drake. Kind of wishing he'd done it sooner. But still, good enough in this instance to just start fighting back on this board.
Yeah, Cosmo has pushed a relevant amount of damage, but it always feels like so futile when you Rexar. Maybe he just won't, for the time being, use the Rexar. Maybe he'll try and get over the line with this early push first, before committing to the Rexar for the rest of the game.
Surely he's going to do it next turn. Like, you can't anticipate that hero power alone is going to win this game if you don't go for Rexar. They've got Divine Hymn, they've got Anduin to get a little bit of extra health with the armor, Primordial Drake.
I'm not saying he doesn't Rexar very soon. I'm saying maybe he gives it one more turn, just to see if he can get through a significant amount. Because that 2 mana a turn healing is definitely hurting.
Yes.
Spellstone has a Riveneth. That's just the worst word I've ever used.
Yeah, that was kind of beyond even being a fake word at that point. But Cosmo still slowing down, not wanting to go with the Rexar, trying to just pressure his opponent out of the game and using Rexar as a follow-up mechanic to just, I guess, give him a little bit of an extra push, or maybe just go onto a defensive value game plan, because he doesn't necessarily have to commit to an aggressive game plan for the rest of the game. If it doesn't work out and his opponent heals up out of range and clears the board, then he can just go for a value game plan with Rexar once again.
Yeah, I always like, as the hunter against control in general, you want that Rexar as soon as possible, but you can sort of empty the other garbage out your hand first. Not always, but when your opponent's on some sort of mediocre health total, it's worth a bit of a probe just to see if you can get it done. And this is the point where you go, okay, not getting it done, but I still need to actually kill this board with a flanking strike anyway, so maybe one more turn. You don't want those one more turns to turn into too much.
Yeah, like, I think attacking into the 3/3 Rexar and hero power looks pretty good to me here. You're all of a sudden not really going to be killing your opponent with stuff on board. I think that's just a misread of what position you're in. So I would like transitioning over to making Zombeasts here, because Zombeasts are just very powerful. We know this.
It's like those games where you're playing all night and you just want one more game to get through the last level. And then you end up not going to bed. Just one more turn without playing my Rexar. I thoroughly understand it. It does make sense here.
And clearly here, Cosmo is thinking this is how he wins this game. He doesn't want to take it into the later stages, find Lifesteal Beast to fight back against the Anduin. He just wants to get this game over with as quickly as he possibly can. And to be honest, there is a lot of counterplay available to Swids. Even if it's just Psychic Scream hero power to face, he can clear off a lot of the damage.
The beauty is you transition to Rexar at a point where you can actually use the beasts as you make them. You don't have the clutter in your hand. It also means that if you do draw your weapon later on, you can fill your hand full of real stuff, rather than having the beastly clutter that hangs around. And you don't need much from Rock Dalar now to finish this off because of all the damage you've been doing.
As Cosmo here still is playing this deck as just an aggro deck. He's trying to smork his opponent down. And still, the answers keep coming in for Swids.
He's now in the position where he needs one good big charge minion from Rexar.
Yeah, sure.
Or Rock Dalar. Rock Dalar probably just outright wins the game at this point.
Cosmo just isn't going to play Rexar in this game. He's saying hero power each turn is better because, again, it demands the heal every single turn. And like you said, there are a lot of outs for lethal until the Omega Lul Medic for Swids comes in just in time to pull him well out of range.
Yeah, and then we'll see Rexar instantly switch into a different game plan when you see the Omega Lul.
Pretty much.
And it will need to be a quick transition as well, because Twilight Drake and the Omega Medic are going to put his own clock on really quickly, with Anduin following up very soon behind. But I don't mind the fact Cosmo went for this. He's probably missed out on 1 or maybe 2 beasts in the process. But had that not been top decked there, this was going to work. Next turn would have been Hero Power, Rexar, Hero Power.
You can say he missed out on 1 or 2 beasts. Like, I think I can definitely understand the thinking here, but the game would have been so vastly different if he played Rexar earlier. Like, the entire way it would have been played, it would be unrecognizable at this point, because there'd be a bunch of beasts in hand. Swids would be at a way higher life total. Cosmo would have more cards in hand because he wouldn't have had to use them very inefficiently just to go face.
Yep. Yeah, we wouldn't have a clue of what would have changed.
Yeah.
And now he's having to go for plan B, which is usually plan A, but the plan B this time became plan A, if you see what I mean. He switched the roles, thinking maybe get it done.
Yeah.
But he can go for big beasts now there's no clutter. He's not going to have to piddle around getting little things in board.
That is true. He does need to be afraid of playing big beasts that don't do anything, though, because if he spends all his mana just on playing a hugely statted minion, and it gets Shadow Earth Death, or it gets Shadow Reaper Anduin, God forbid, for Cosmo's game plan, it gets very dicey for him very quick.
I assume he took the Rhino with the first part, and now it's just a case of, do I want a huge charging Bloodworm Rhino, or do I want to just put a Penguin down so he survives longer, and maybe not even cast the card for a turn or 2?
I mean, if he did take Rhino, I think you probably do take Bloodworm, right? Like, you can go for a huge amount of heal on a following turn. Well, okay, you can go for 6 immediate heal, which gets you from, after Alexstrasza, 15 up to 21, potentially.
And if you can get another beast alongside it, you can actually just push for lethal in a swing turn. You might not just play it next turn, you might just chill for a while.
I guess, however,
Unleash is not bad next turn.
This is maybe I'm letting Cast Division get to me to some extent, where I can see that the Shadow Reaper Anduin is in hand for Swids, whereas Cosmo is probably thinking at this point, I don't need to worry about my opponent's win condition, I just need to worry about killing them.
Well, there goes the Hunter's Mark. But even then, what's the best way of killing them? If you play the Rhino down and it just gets killed straight away, that might not be as good as just waiting for a secondary beast that also costs 5 and just swinging with 2 minions in one turn.
Yeah.
Emerald Reaver is cheap, it does a damage.
Yeah, I like the Reaver. You could very potentially fit it in with the Rhino on this turn as well if you get a beast that costs 3 or less. And hey, that is those. The young Dragonhawk as well, actually. Allows you to connect to face for 6 on this turn, which means you're pushing, 3 and 6?
And 1.
Yep. 3 and 6 and 1, which is 10 damage. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you go for it this turn? Because we could see Unleash the Hounds to face on this turn instead.
I did wonder that. Also, you could actually just go... Oh, you can go Rhino to Spellstone at some point as well.
But I guess without any secrets, that's not any more damage than Rhino into this sub-beast.
Sure.
Would be instead. This is assuming that he actually went for the Windfury version. I can't quite see that.
I think he had to, because nothing else would have cost 1.
Clean feed. Yeah, I mean, it was that or Boar, I think, were the options. And with Charge already available, you're pretty much always going to be taking that one, as it does demand a full board clear from Swids. And probably a little bit of healing as well.
He's got to be so careful here.
Again, what, the 3, the 6, and the 1. It's a lot of damage coming through from Cosmo. And Swids will again just be having to hero power face every single turn to stay out of range.
Can he get a 4 attack beast for 2 mana that only costs... No, he can't. It just costs 1 to play.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not happening.
It would have to be, like Windfury plus Penguin, which you can't get because those are both the simplified text versions, which come as the second option.
Yeah. Afraid you need to make another beast. So tempting just to hit your opponent while you can for this huge amount, but try and get a charging or stealth.
Okay,
Nice
if you can go
beast.
Ravasaur run on the first one and hit a 1-cost minion on the second one, like exactly that. You play Explosive Trap this turn, and next turn you can go for such a crazy amount of damage. This turn's going to be absurd from Cosmo. That's a Wind Fury plus a Battle Cry to adapt because he'll have 2 other minions in play, plus attack, +1/+1 are both massive.
I think it's 16 without even the adapt option.
Right. Because that would be what, 3 and 6 and 1 and 16. Yes, I agree. 16 damage. And then if you get plus attack, that brings it up to another 6, 22.
Wow. So if he gets plus attack, he wins the game.
He just wins.
Even +1/+1 is enough. We think.
Yes, yeah, I think so.
After 10 hours of casting, which we should have.
And he's just going for it here. It's his best chance of winning the game here as we get to see plus attack is gained. And Cosmo advances through to the top 8 after the most insane series of zombies I think I've ever seen. And Swizz is simply eliminated. He can't believe it.
And that came about because of the way he played the early game, where he pushed intense amounts of damage, meaning that even though he got lucky with a beast and they all fit in the synergy